Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of Planetary's Moon, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now I want to talk about moon rituals and when it's the right time to plant seeds. Now, just by me saying that, there's a lot of concepts going to be built around that, based upon what you may have learned or what you may have been taught about it. And a lot of times you may have been taught that it's dealing with witchcraft, it's dealing with darkness because the moon and dark and the correlations to that, and evil and things of that nature. And this is something that you're truly doing every day. You're planting seeds every day. The issue here is you don't notice what you're doing. And then you have a lot of other people who's telling you how to do. They're giving you third-hand system knowledge about a system we all have access to. And what happens is you end up planting seeds in other people's fields and helping their farm grow without realizing it. Then when it comes time for you to pick freely off the fruits of your labor, you find yourself can't. You find yourself seeing a price on something that you helped grow. And that's another video. We can go real deep into that. But all the seeds that you're planting in other people's fields, you help their cornfield, you help their farm grow. And then when they set a price on this flower or this fruit or this vegetable for you to pick, now you want to feel like you're controlled and things of that nature. But check this out. Now, when we talk about moon rituals and when the best time to plant seeds and things of that nature, the first thing you need to understand is what is the moon itself. Now, when you looking up at the moon, you're within a being. So that moon is a collection of everybody's emotions and feelings into one spot. As far as our pieces of that spirit, our pieces of that soul. We're experiencing our individual souls within this being that we're in. Now, the moon that we see, that is, you could call that, like, that's correlated to the oversoul or the mind, you know what I'm saying, the soul, mind, moon. See them four letters? It's all correlated to the same thing. And you know what I'm saying? When you look at it, that's the overall soul of the being we in. So when you look at the moon, you know it's carrying vibrations. It's carrying the experience. So it's carrying the emotions and feelings and things of that nature. So when you look at the closest planets to the sun, you got the sun, you got Mercury, you got Venus, you got Earth. They all share one moon. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is what you need to understand. A moon, like planets, is like organs, like chakras. It's like your chakra system. This is why each of your chakras is correlated to a planet. You see what I'm saying? So when you got a moon controlling 3 chakras, and if this is the moon you can see, this is your experience. This is the moon you are experiencing. So for the most part, this is the moon you have control over. So this is your moon sign. And then it correlates to how your soul going to structure here, how you going to filter out through your experiences. So how you genuinely feel with your own emotions and feelings in your soul dictates your Mercury, your Venus, and your Earth chakras, your elements. You see what I'm saying? Now when you look at Venus, that correlates to love, appreciation, value, and how you relate to others and things you're willing to compromise with. Mercury correlates to how you think, communicate, and analyze. Now you're on Earth. You're walking around. You have a physical body. You see what I'm saying? And you're able to grow. Now, these are the only energies that's harder for an outside influence to penetrate. And this is why you may see these energies and feelings the most powerful in your existence based upon the being that you in. So when you look at love, you may perceive love as being the most powerful. And this is the one that you feel like you have to push out the most and get the most receiving in. The way that you think and analyze and communicate, you see what I'm saying? That's the closest one you feel like you have to yourself. And then your body, your stableness, your growth, your stability. That's the earth element. that you feel like you have that to yourself. So these are the three chakras that's harder to penetrate for other spirits to penetrate. These are the three most hardest chakras, aka planets, to be penetrated by outside external references. You see what I'm saying? So these are the ones you got closest to yourself. Love, your thoughts. Now, if you do let someone control your love and what you appreciate and value, that's truly your fault. If you do let somebody control the way you think and analyze and communicate about things, that's truly your fault. If you do let somebody else control your circumstances and your situation and the ground you walk beneath you that you walk on, and they control your actions, that's on you. But you have a lot of entities out here who didn't learn how to penetrate these energies using other energies like the sun and things, and Saturn and things of that nature. Because Saturn could correlate with the moon and the earth, and the sun could correlate with Venus a lot of times. So, you know, they would utilize and utilize Mars elements to help filter you by using outside ETs, outside entities, outside beings, because they're able to access that through those other planets. And I'm going to tell you how. But for the most part, these are the three chakras, the three planets, and the three energetic forces that you have access to that's most hard to penetrate from outside influences, which is your thoughts, the way you express what you love and what you overindulge in and what you appreciate, and the ground beneath you that you walk on, in your physical body and your growth and your stability in your life. Now, when we get to Mars, Mars has 2 moons. Now, if we understand it what a moon is, right? You have to understand it with universal law, and you kind of have to erase everything you have been taught by others. And if you are spiritually inclined, you can make sense out of things. So, look at it like this. Now, Mars has 2 moons. You can go look this up. So, when we look at the moon, that's dealing with the mind, the emotions, the feelings, the soul. You see what I'm saying? So if Mars got 2 moons, this means Mars has 2 minds of its own. See, Mars has a mind of its own. Now, what does Mars represent? Now, this is why I encourage everybody to get into astrology. Mars represents intent, willpower, passion, motivation, your desires. You see what I'm saying? Things that you're passionately into. So that can lead into aggression or anger when you don't get to experience those things. But it could put you in a vibration of accomplishment and pleasure. So that revolves around sex and things of that nature. So when you look at Mars, Mars is correlated to your chakra, going down there by the root chakra. You see what I'm saying? So if Mars has a mind of its own, and in this case it has 2 minds of its own, then when you look at your desires and passions and motivations, you understand that they have a mind of their own. So when you look into your desires and your passions, it's easier to get lost. That chakra is easier to get tempered with. Think about all your desires, passions, motivations, and willpowers anyway. 9 times out of 10 is something that's dealing with something outside of you, something externally. You see what I'm saying? Something you desire. 9 times out of 10 is something externally. A person, place, or thing outside of you. You know what I'm saying? Something you want to accomplish. Something you want to achieve. Something you're passionately into. Now, passion goes a little further, but it still correlates with Mars. You could be passionately into something outside of yourself. You can have an inner passion to want to learn. Inner passion to want to learn self and things of that nature. So that's the higher octave of Mars, where it leaves anger. Because anger only comes from when you can't experience one of your passions or can experience something that you desire. You know what I'm saying? Or something you was intended to get, or your intentions. Mars revolves around intentions also. But see, now you know that Mars has a mind of its own. So a lot of times this is why it may be easier for you to get enticed by certain desires and passions, and be confused into thinking that they're your own desires and passions. And when we talk about moons, and we say, and Mars is ruled by, got 2 moons, this is 2 souls. So you see what I'm saying? So this is 2 feelings and emotions, a lot of times, wanting to get to certain circumstances and situations. So not only that you have your own desires, but the things you desires have their own minds. So you can get lost into your desires because of what your desire requires. This is why passion involves with energy. Mars revolves in energy, because anything that you're trying to go out and get, you have to put energy in to get it. You see what I'm saying? So it goes deep. And this is what's keeping Mars in its position. Now, when you look at planets like Saturn, and Jupiter and things of that nature, and they got like 60 moons. You know what I'm saying? One of them got like just 20 moons, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it's Uranus or Saturn, so don't quote me on that. But they got more than double moons. And on an esoteric level, I don't necessarily know if you know what this means. Now, if you in a form of a religion, then you will agree to the terms and conditions that this may mean a form of hell. So these planets are probably ascended beings or ascended organs that they got so powerful they could become a main organ. But that's more responsibility, and you're more responsible for more lives. So you're being pulled. You may have more mass to go in your own direction, but you're so responsible for the position that you're in already, you can't go in no other position. So you're tied to that position, that rotation. So you're being dragged with all down by your responsibilities that you choose to obtain in yourself. So I say that to say this: if you're a person that's trying to teach people, or you out here trying to do certain things, or if you a student in certain ways, because it's one and the same, student and teacher. Don't be out here if you can't handle the responsibility, or if you under some type of religious text, or if you under some type of oversoul that's making you think in certain ways that's making you think less about what power is, then you don't necessarily, you shouldn't be jumping in this field, because jumping in this field and you don't even want to, you letting the universe and God know that you don't even want to take on the responsibility here, you know what I'm saying, then you're not responsible enough. And the universe will know that. You'll know that based upon what you receive. God and the universe only going to give you so much, only going to give you what you can handle. And if you putting out that energy influence of you don't want to be responsible, but yet you're trying to teach and things of that nature, then you're contradicting yourself. So you're going to put yourself in a bunch of contradicting energy, even in force fields that others may not be able to see it, but they spirit's going to be able to pick it up, and they're going to be able to sense like, man, this is something that's not right. It's because they may be listening to a person who truly don't know what they want themselves, or truly don't know what they're talking about themselves, and they're lost in a certain way of looking at something. But you need to ground yourself and then fly. You can't fly before grounding yourself, because you're not going to know where you're landing, or you're not even going to know where you're going if you didn't start from a grounding point of real stability, you know. But for the most part, these planets took on the responsibility of wanting certain authorities and things of that nature. This is why Saturn has so many moons. They rule over so many souls, over so many, and they know how to keep so many souls up under certain rotations. But the more souls they get is the more power they have. So they're able to become bigger planets or bigger stars, you know what I'm saying, bigger organs, and have more mass and be able to have more control. But a lot of times they get lost into that power. This is why they in one position, one spot for ages. That's like somebody reaching a certain position at a job and staying there for the rest of they reach a certain, say they became corporate boss or something like that. They don't want to leave that position. And if anybody else threatened that position, they're going to make sure they do everything within their power to make sure that don't be a threat, and they retain their position. Now, if they want more power, they're going to have to take over more positions, take over other people's businesses and things of that nature, and make all those businesses have to be filtered through them in some way, shape, or form. That's like a galaxy type of mind. You know what I'm saying? A galaxy trying to become a universe. And I told y'all in my last video how those beings think. But you know what I'm saying, this is what planets are trying to do, and suns and stars are trying to do. They all are stars. You just got different. A planet is just a smaller name for calling a star that ain't grow yet, and oversoul is just a smaller name for a planet, something that haven't evolved into a planet yet. You say in the third dimension, a human, which y'all call human, and mankind is just a smaller version of an oversoul that haven't became an oversoul yet. A human is just a fucking form of a fucking form of a two-dimensional vessel that haven't became a human yet. You know what I'm saying? Which is the bodily fluids and things of that nature, and which is organs and things that's inside of you that can come up, this small worlds and things of that nature. And then a small world ain't nothing but a version that ain't become a fucking cell, or a cell or bloodstream or something in you yet. A form of a bunch of fluids that come together to become an organ or something yet. You see what I'm saying? It didn't formulate to that yet, and that's one dimension. And then outside of that, we get into the zero dimension, and then as things go backwards, then that's another world. And that'll be the vibrational world. Then once you reach the minus of that, then you go to the unconscious, the spiritual world. Then you go to the minus of that, and then that's like the overall. You see what I'm saying? But it's 9 dimensions, like the lines, and each of them have a perfection stage, which will be the 5 the in between of all of them. You have the 0, then you have the 10, then in the middle always 5. You see what I'm saying? And then 10 is just starting over. It's adding right there. That's just, you add a plus sign there, and then that's 1 through 10 again added. But you always go to subtract if you want to find, because right now we are extending lives. And we are in the third version of extending a life right now. So as far as we had the frequency, vibration, the energy, the death portion, then we're trying to create something after the death portion. This is why you start getting the number 13. Everybody who start using the number 13 and things, that's 4. That ain't nothing but 4. 4th dimension. But you need to know that's going into density in the physical form, but going higher in the spiritual form. Where really, you know what I'm saying, you still getting separated from God, but if you know how to get connected with the overall, then you'll be able to obtain all these powers as you descend with more physical forms. And creating more physical forms is really just creating new bigger vessels, new experiences for spirits to come in or God to come in to experience. And in the physical world, it may be seen as more or less, but more dense, more heavy, more down in the cosmos. But at the same time, it holds, it's more power, more weight, more watt, more mass, more awareness, more bigger authority that a spirit will be able to take advantage over by being able to utilize that vessel. But for a spirit to even want to do that in a vessel like that has to be a demonic spirit, a low spirit, a spirit that want to go down and do something really big. You know, high spirits like to take the high road, but take high vessels. The stars you may see above you, but you be seeing all the stars on Earth because of how Earth rotating. So you be seeing the stars below you, above you, all that shit. But you wouldn't know that because you're stuck in concepts of up, down, left, right, and Western astrology, which is the time that you're in. But you have to learn that time in order to learn the time that you're truly in. You see what I'm saying? This is why I say you act out in your Western ways, because that's how things look apparent to Earth. Once you rise your spiritual conscious, you will be able to look at the time from face to face. If you was looking at a planet from face to face, you'll look at the time how the sun see it. Okay, then that's getting more to Vedic, Eastern, where the shit really at. You see what I'm saying? And then once you rise above that, you'll be able to see how they see time, because then you'll realize that that's not the true time. Then once you start traveling, you start realizing that there's no up and down, left, right. There's nothing rising. There's everything in its own place. And the only reason you look at things as being in fixated places is because you may be the further away from it, which is actually moving. But in technicality, everything is in fixated places. So as you being in your fixated position, everything is going to seem as mirror, opposite. Everything's going to seem as the opposite and living backwards. But you need to take that down to everything. For an example, everything outside of you everything that you draw or present, you're doing it from a perspective of it being outside of you. So it's coming from you, but it's truly being brought in a mirror perception for others to be able to see it. So everything you could think of, from language to how you communicate with people, everything, how you see words, everything, that's backwards. Then everything is in reverse. So this is why all flat earthers and things of that nature don't feel like we're in something spinning. Now, I don't subscribe to the globe or flat earth, but let me just give you perspective here. Everything is in reverse. This is why you can see things that the faster, look, the slower something is moving, the faster it appears to be moving to you. But the faster something moves, the slower it's going to appear to move to you, because you're in that illusion, you're in a spin cycle illusion. So I'm not going to subscribe to something being a globe or something being flat, but I will say sphere like, and sphere doesn't necessarily represent flat or globe, just a bunch of spheres going in a bunch of different directions on its own relative perspective. You see what I'm saying? And based upon you being in that spheric illusion, things that move slow will appear to be fast, and things that move fast would appear to be slow. This is why if you really into fighting, you know what I'm saying, and you know how to punch somebody, you know not to do no overall fast hook swing. You know to punch somebody, boom, real fast but straight ahead. Now it may be the slowest thing you could do, or the slowest, weakest thing you can do, but in actuality, that's going to be the most force, the most pain, and the fastest punch that person catch. Now, why is that? You can learn that from Bruce Lee, from boxing, or anybody. Now, yo ass, you think you super fast, so you want to do a long ass round kick or a long ass round hook, and that end up being the slowest, weakest punch you can do, or the slowest, weakest kick you can do. This is why when something is in front of you, say people are playing football in front of you, right? You're watching a football game and you see a person, they so-called claim to be running fast, right? Now they're running fast to reach the touchdown. Now they could be running, you could be witnessing in live how them running fast and outrunning everybody, but within that experience it seemed like it was like slow, right? And then you could watch a NASCAR show, or you could go to a NASCAR. Them cars is moving way faster than any person, right? But when a car is moving fast, you end up seeing everything on the car way better than you was to see that person on the football field. Like, you see what I'm saying? Even when you get super excited, at any time you get super excited, your vibrations go super high and they go super low. So the experience become like in slow motion almost. So you start to experience everything in slow motion. You're like, damn, why is everything seem like you start experiencing all the details or something? This is where the Matrix got that from. When you're vibrating low, something that they desired, something that they was into, you know what I'm saying? They was using aggression, they was using a lower chakra, right? And then that's how they was able to move real slow, because they was under danger. And the agents knew how to move under danger, but they knew how to take that energy and not have it forced to being scared, know how to utilize it for what it's used for. So they was able to move in slow motion within the Matrix, within the dream, and dodge all of Neo bullets. And Neo had to learn how to do that also. You know what I'm saying? So it's like vibrating low. And at the same time, if you a person with low frequencies, you're gonna have low vibrations. So if you're vibrating high on a low frequency, right, you may balance yourself in low frequency vibrations in general. So down there, you're able to move in slow motion. So this is how things is moving slow. So for an example, Neo thought dude was moving fast. You thought the football player was running fast. You thought the NASCAR player was running fast. Was driving fast to win the NASCAR race. Yet you experienced every moment of it. So when you look at what you're in, as far as something that's bigger than you, and it's spinning on a spiral, the speed of that spinning is going to appear to the small version of you as if it's not spinning at all. Yet you see things move relative to the sky. And then you're gonna be like, okay, well, if the earth is moving, then is everything in the sky fixed, but yet we're just moving? No, you know how to correlate that, because everything is going in its own separate directions based upon its own relative rotation. It may be staying in a rotation pattern, but it's going in its own relative direction. And this is how we're able to have squares, oppositions, you see what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Which is the squares and the oppositions is coming from external representations outside of you. And the trines and the sextiles is the energy you give off. That's the giver. The square and the square and the opposition is the receiver. The sextile and the trine is the giver. So when other people pick that up, that will be a square or a trine for them. I mean, a square or opposition for them. And a conjunction could play all four roles. And all the directions in between that blend into two could be like things like in conjunctions, semi-squares, and things of that nature. That'd be like the semi-vibrational direction. See, everything have a directional pad. You see what I'm saying? Everything has a directional pad. The opposition is going up and down. You see what I'm saying? The square is going left and right. The trine is kind of, if you want to say the opposition is going backward and forward, then you could say the trine is going up and down, or making a triangle. You see what I'm saying? It's a gift, a spiritual gift. The square be going side by side, left to right, from the back and forth, which would make the cross. You see what I'm saying? Now, what makes the geometric the dynamic of the cross is the triangle, right? And then the sextile is the triangle moving on its axis. So it's the triangle creating opportunities. See, I don't think y'all got that. See, it's you in space, right? Here, I'm giving y'all the astrological direction right now. You in the space. Now, back and forward will be the opposition, back relating to each other. The square, which will be the left or right. So now we have you can make a box out of that. See, you can make a box, but it also creates the cross. And you can make a box out of the cross, but it's still a cross. So it causes friction, but learning processes also, right? So that's like this. Now what's going up and down through it, now we get more dimensional, higher dimensional, spiritually more inclined. Now you got the triangle, you got the gift being brought down. Now it's really just the line being brought down, but what makes it appear as a triangle on both sides is when the sextile happens, and that's the triangle being aligned between the square and the opposition. The triangle works as a line, and it becomes a triangle when the sextile happens, because the triangle, both points of the triangle rotate on the axis. And when you got something in a geometrical shape as a six-dimensional shape that's shapeless and formless, right? That's how it's going to look. So on the axis, right, you get that's what creating the triangle. So really you get like what they call that, a silicone, but you can get it on both sides. See what I'm saying? This is where you start becoming to get shapes and 3D shapes, and this is how you start to understand that nothing's flat, but nothing's really a globe either. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be spiritually inclined to understand what I was just even doing. You know what I'm saying? Which a lot of people may and a lot of people may not. But let me cut this video off. Flight boss, bitch, goddamn air.